Catastrophe, war zone, unprecedented. These are the words being used to describe the situation in Europe, not to describe any new conflict, but to describe the weather. Storms and accompanying floods have overwhelmed Europe. The torrent dubbed as Flood of Death has affected Germany, Belgium, the Netherlands, Austria, Switzerland and Luxembourg. Torrential rains, riverbank bursts, overloaded sewage systems, submerged houses, overturned vehicles and soaked streets. The scale of devastation shows the worst floods faced by Europe in decades. The death toll in Europe has soared to over 180, and most of it from Germany, where emergency responders are frantically searching for missing people and residents are trying to get their life back to normalcy. The flash floods which recently ravaged the western part of the country has reached southern Germany. The video surfacing on social media shows torrents of water cascading through a road in Bad Schandau. The floods have submerged the entire German town, damaging houses, bridges, railroads and streets. The death toll has crossed over 150. In the country's worst natural disaster in almost 6 decades. The latest region to be hit by record rainfall and ensuing floods is the border state of Bavaria. The Ache River has swelled, forcing residents to evacuate the district of Berchtesgadener. Houses had to be evacuated because they were at risk of collapse, and there were severe damages caused by mudslides to roads and railways. Roads around the town of Berchtesgaden are impassable. The police expect to recover more bodies after the water level recedes. The residents in the southwest town of Erftstadt have rolled up their sleeves to clean up their ravaged neighbourhoods. Soldiers and volunteers have reached to help reinforce dikes and clean up damaged areas as entire communities lie in ruins. River water has swept through towns and villages, forcing tens of thousands of residents to evacuate in the past 3 days. In the rural southwest district of Ahrweiler, a big crowd of neighbours, emergency services and volunteers have picked up shovels, buckets and brooms, helping the residents pick up pieces of their homes and businesses. The German government will be disbursing more than $350 million in immediate relief and billions more to fix collapsed houses, streets and bridges. According to local media reports, short-term relief payment of at least €10,000 is being considered for small businesses affected by the impact of the floods. The German Chancellor Angela Merkel, who recently returned from Washington, D.C., has visited one of the most flood-stricken regions in Germany. The town of Schuld in the district of Ahrweiler has been destroyed. Roads have been washed away, the sanitation system has submerged, and communications networks have either been down or are unstable. After talking to the neighbours, town administrators and emergency service workers in Schuld, Merkel has promised a swift financial aid.
It's terrifying. I would say there is no word in the German language to describe this devastation. However, what I have witnessed and what is incredibly comforting is how people are sticking together, how they're helping each other, the solidarity among people. We stand by your side. The federal government and the state will act together to bring the world back to how it was in this beautiful area, step by step. And that means that we have to act quickly in the short term, but also that recovery will take a long time.
Austria has also been hit hard by the floods. Torrential floodwaters have torn through the Austrian town of Hallein near Salzburg. The Salzach River burst its banks after heavy rains on Saturday evening. Fortunately, no one has been reported injured, dead or missing, but the raging waters have done a lot of damage. An eyewitness video circulating on social media shows rushing water dragging a car. This video is from the Austrian border town of Hallein. Several areas across the country remain on alert, with rain set to continue for 24 hours. The Western Tyrol province has reported water levels at a high not seen in 3 decades. The region around Salzburg has been particularly affected. People trapped in their homes had to be evacuated by boats and trucks. The water level had dropped, but the situation in small towns remains tense due to the possibility of new rainfall. In the Netherlands, thousands of people who were evacuated have started to return home. Although rain has stopped in the worst affected areas of the Netherlands, the damage has made large parts uninhabitable. Rescue workers are digging deeper into debris left by receding waters. A survey is being conducted around the southern Dutch cities of Bund, Volwams, Brommelen and Goul. The government has declared the flooding a state of emergency and has opened up national funds for those affected. Thousands of residents who have returned to their damaged houses were seen pumping water out of their houses and recovering valuable documents and materials. Although the Dutch have so far escaped disaster in terms of deaths, these aerial visuals show the scale of disaster in the country. The visuals are from Arsene, a neighbourhood in the Dutch city of Venlo, which has been flooded by the Meuse River. The mayor of Venlo, Antoine Scholten, has assured that the water was not at peak levels anymore, but the situation still remains uncertain. In Belgium, residents of the small town of Chaufontaine have come together to clear the streets of debris. The town was ravaged by floods, and it could take months to clear up after the worst floods in modern Belgian history. The narrow valleys of the heavily populated region were swamped in a week of intense rain. Tow trucks were seen pulling away wrecked cars, and huge holes have opened under pavements. The Prime Minister of Belgium, Alexander De Croo, visited the flood-stricken Belgian town of Rochefort. He was accompanied by the European Commission President, Ursula von der Leyen. The army has been sent to 4 of the country's 10 provinces to help with rescue and evacuation. Prime Minister Alexander De Croo has declared 20th of July as a national day of mourning for the 27 lives lost to the floods. Water levels have slowly fallen in the worst hit parts of Belgium, but the crisis centre is worried that the situation along the Demme River, closer to Brussels, might worsen. About 10 houses near the riverbank are under threat of destruction. In the river valleys of industrial eastern Belgium, the smell of cocoa has mixed up with the stench of spilled fuel oil and churned up river mud. Among the many businesses knocked temporarily out of action was the Gala factory, home to one of the country's iconic luxury chocolate brands. But after a week of torrential rains, part of the front wall of the chocolate plant has collapsed. Vats of raw ingredients have been knocked over or burst, and the smell of chocolate has drifted through the air. Floods have brought the historic Belgian chocolate factory to a standstill. Belgian rail network operator Infrabel has published plans of repairs to lines, but some of it will be back in service only at the very end of August. In the southern Belgian provinces of Luxembourg and Namur, the authorities have rushed to supply drinking water to households without a clean supply.